And then we have the digital technology, right? HBD with an emoji of a cake to wish someone a happy birthday. RIP as a condolence message. We couldn't be bothered to pick up the phone and call this dear friend and say, hey, hi, how you doing? Happy birthday. Or we couldn't even think of going over to somebody's house personally to offer our condolences. Everything is just done through a text. Quick, easy, dusted.
Rocking Mama to Real Mama, Mamta B.
The shrill whistle of the early morning garbage truck that drags all of us out of bed early in the morning, hands full of rubbish. And then at 9 o'clock, our vegetable vendor comes calling tarkari loud enough for the whole neighborhood to hear. He pushes his cart overladen with fresh vegetables, and that brings all of the neighbors out again to buy the fresh vegetables for the day. And that gives us this opportunity to catch up on each other, talk about the weather. Simple conversations, but such a nice way to start the day with. You have children dressed in school uniform heading to school, carrying bags that are so big they're twice their size. You have local dogs that come running, looking for biscuits, waiting to be petted. That's how we normally start our mornings at my little neighborhood. We disperse after that and get on with our day. The importance of community in an age of disconnection. The small gesture of a neighbor, a story shared, the laughter shared. All of this in a world where we feel so much more isolated than ever. What does it mean to belong? When was the last time you truly felt like you were a part of a community? You only feel the relevance of this when something bad happens to you, and then you look around and you see your neighbors are the first ones to rush in to help. That's if you have been a good neighbor yourself. Now, I'm not saying everybody's a great neighbor. We always will have the odd ones out, whether in any group of people, whether it be at your workplace, whether it be in your family, or whether it be in your neighborhood. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about the importance, the crucial role that community plays in our lives, and how we all can be a part of something so much bigger than ourselves. We humans are inherently social beings. We long for communication, we long for conversations, we long for belonging. But somewhere along the way, we have lost track of this age-old practice. We are moving more towards a global trend of individualism and personal anatomy, where you just want to be by yourself, you don't want to be bothered by anybody, and you don't want to be bothering anybody. You can unfriend a friend anytime you want. You can block someone with a click of a button. And all of this leaves you to feel so much freer and to be by yourself. But it does come at a cost. You then get left out of a social network. You become isolated, and isolation eventually leads to loneliness. Now, while this individualistic trend is very popular in big cities, big countries, busy capitals all around the world, we here in Nepal are not too far away behind, but for much different reasons, I feel. Of course, migration to start with. People migrating from provinces, from villages coming to the capital, and then people from the capital moving out abroad, traveling out to look for better opportunities. There's always this constant movement happening around that stops neighborhoods from settling down. You have the political instability that brings along financial instability, and that again creates so much of unrest. People have to continuously move around to live better or to find safer situations, and that again stops the community or the neighborhood from settling down. To be stable, to stay in one place for long enough to get to know each other. We then have the long working hours, 6 days a week. It doesn't give you much time to socialize or to look around you. Who's living next door? Who's living upstairs in the upper flat? Who's living downstairs? you really get disconnected with the people around you because you don't have the time to engage in any activity or any communication with anybody else besides your work people. And then we have the digital technology, right? HBD with an emoji of a cake to wish someone a happy birthday. RIP as a condolence message. We couldn't be bothered to pick up the phone and call this dear friend and say, hey, hi, how you doing? Happy birthday. Or we couldn't even think of going over to somebody's house personally to offer our condolences. Everything is just done through a text. Quick, easy, dusted. We actually think social media is actually bringing us together, but in reality, it is isolating us. And it is replacing this need to have face-to-face conversation with people, with your neighbors, with your community, even with your family. We are forgetting how that neighbor can be that reliable strength when you need them during good times and bad times. It's as simple as somebody lending you a tool, or as vital as a neighbor rushing you to the emergency. Our parents were so good at this. When you look back at your childhood, I am sure all of us can remember how good our parents were at bringing the community together, of how good they were at helping people around them, selflessly, without a single doubt. My father, he knew each and everyone that lived around him. He would always make it a point to check in on them. And my mom, she continues to do so. She visits the elderly, anybody who is sick, a newborn baby, who needs food. Who can I share my fruits with? Old clothes. Yes, sure, somebody might need them. This is helping the community is a part of her day-to-day life. It's not something that she does on a whim or when she feels like it. It's embedded in her daily routine. She makes time for this. And sure enough, the support that she gets back for doing all of this is right there as proof. A community isn't something that you find, is what I have learned. It is something that you build. A simple hello, an act of kindness, a shared story. All of these little things go on to make a very big difference. It's high time we all understood that we are a part of a large ecosystem and we really need to support each other right at home, right in our community before we even think of the bigger things. Your actions affect the neighbors, and then their actions together. It helps create the safety net that you so need, especially when you find yourself alone and when you find yourself needing some help. I have so many neighborhood stories to share with you in future episodes, but right now I would like you to share yours. Tell us something more about your community, your neighborhood. You can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Instagram, on TikTok, on all of the social media platforms actually. I look forward to hearing from you. And in the meantime, stay connected, stay engaged with the people and the places that matter the most to you.
Hits FM 91.2.